Alright guys, after 20 hours in, I'm finally out of Starfield. I'm sorry, this is not my game. And by no means I want to say that this game is trash. It is by no means trash. It's a decent game. That's the best way I can describe it, a decent game. And the biggest, absolute biggest issue with that game, that's my reason one why I want to quit, is the fact that team tried to do so many things with that game that at the end of the day they created a product which tries to do so many things that it doesn't excel anywhere. It just delivers on mediocre level every single aspect of the game. And that's a problem, because if I want to say now that, for instance, I don't like the graphics, but I love the story, this is why I want to keep playing Starfield, I cannot say that. I'm not a fan of the graphics. I'm going to talk about it in a second. I'm not a fan of the graphics, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of the story as well. And I'm not a fan of the combat in this game. So let's start with the graphics. Reason number two, the graphics in this game in certain situations is pretty cool. Look at the sky, and oh my god. But the sky is cool, right? The sky is cool. Look at the scenery in the planet. We have rocks, we have ice, we have snow. That's pretty cool. The only problem is that if you visit 20 or 30 planets, you're going to see that it's more or less the same. It's a reskin. And instead of ice, for instance, instead of snow, you're going to have red dust on Mars, stuff like this. So planets kind of look similar, which you can argue that that's realistic. You know, planets don't really look completely different, but they could have created at least 20 or 30 completely different and exotic planets. But probably it was just me not visiting more than, I believe I visited like 20 planets so far. But anyways, so the first reason why I didn't like Starfield, this is the most important reason, is that there is nothing in this game that's really great. Everything is at like a serviceable level, and that's it. For instance, the graphics, reason number two, the graphics is cool in certain situations. For instance, the planet scenery is cool. However, go to a city and talk to an NPC, take a look at the hair. Yesterday my girlfriend went into the room while I was like having a conversation with one of the NPCs. My character was having a conversation, of course. And she said, oh my god, this game has a horrible graphics. And I was like, probably you're right. So at the same time, I can argue that certain part of this aspect is good, some other parts not really that great. So generally, again, I'll give the graphics something like 7 or 7.5 all the way to 8, which is the top I can give it. It can be much better. Overall, the game looks good, but nothing impressive. Which brings me to the third point, that's the NPCs. The NPCs in this game are probably the main reason why the game is so boring. They're just soulless. They're just soulless. I'm not talking about only the companions like Sarah, that are your muse. They're just carrying your stuff, and they're immortal, and they're the best tank in the game. But I'm talking about the NPCs that you're communicating with, the NPCs that are with you while you are on a quest or something like this in the main storyline. All of this is boring. And now, the main reason is not only the voice acting, which in my opinion is super mediocre, but also probably the reason why the voice acting is mediocre is because the lines are super bad, and they're delivered by the NPC like this. You have to go to the second floor, grab a key pass, and bring it back to me. Once you deliver it, now and then, I will know what to do. Currently, I cannot say anything further. This is the way you communicate with all NPCs, right? So you by no means you can say that this is enticing, or for instance this makes you exciting about doing any type of quest. It is simply boring. So the NPCs super soulless. I'm sorry, they're just soulless. Also, weapons in this game and the fighting. Now again, good aspect of this game, there's a variety of weapons. You can choose from many weapons. Unfortunately, if you choose 3 types of rifles, they're going to feel the same when you shoot. I didn't feel a great difference between them. On top of everything, the fighting itself is super bad. It feels like you're playing an old shooter, like 10 years old shooter. If you're shooting somebody from 1 meter, sometimes they don't even react to the bullets. Look at this. She didn't react to the bullets. So it's super bad, let's go that way. The fighting in this game isn't great. It is just, again, serviceable level. I cannot say that I feel bad if I'm fighting in this game, but at the same time I don't feel good. So I cannot say, you know what, I hate the story, the NPCs and everything is bad, but the fighting is super cool, so I want to keep playing the game because I love fighting. I cannot say that because fighting isn't great. And if I have to talk about space fighting is a little bit better, especially if you unlock a couple of perks. For instance, the perk that makes you focus at specific aspects of the ship that you want to hit. That's pretty cool. You're basically locking a target and you can choose whatever part of the ship you want to shoot. So that's cool, but still it's not really great. One aspect of the game which is decent, but not incredible. I cannot say, you know what, space fighting in this game is so cool that I want to keep playing it only because of the space fighting. I just cannot say that. I'm sorry. It is okay, good at best, but not good enough to keep me in that game. And the last reason why I'm more or less done with Starfield is basically logically follows everything that I said before. I don't every single time every single minute inside this game, it doesn't feel like I'm playing an RPG. It simply doesn't. It seems like this game is trying to be an RPG. It's trying to be a shooter. It's trying to be everything at once. And at the end of the day, all it is a big mess. This is the best way I can describe Starfield. It is a big mess. It's trying to be everything and it fails in every single aspect. Even though it is not a horrible game, if you are a big fan of star exploration, stuff like this, such type of genre in general, everything related to stars, ships and traveling in space, then probably you're going to like it, but be prepared that the beginning of this game is going to be super boring. So if you are able to somehow go past the first 10-15 hours, then probably you might like Starfield. I don't know, quite frankly, because I played just 20 hours. I cannot really do any comments on the end game. Probably the end game is awesome, but every single game that fails to deliver great stuff in the first 5 hours, I'm sorry, I'm out. See you next time, guys. Take care.